Hello, hello. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Marvelous, thank you. So we are continuing to cruise towards the finale of Disco Elysium. I reckon we got 3, maybe 4 more streams of this before we come to the end. And I am having a fantastic time with it. We've got a Ko-fi up top from Shivra28. Hello. It's been a while since I've been able to catch a live stream, but it's always nice to have something to listen to between life's shenanigans. I hope you and Sasha are well. I'm glad that you are currently between shenanigans because, oh boy, it's hard to listen to a fun stream mid shenanigan. But shall we have a play of Disco Elysium? Where were we last time? Ah, yes. Oh, maybe I've got my dice to pick up. Yep. Oh, I've got to tell the poor old cryptozoologists it was Kuno stealing their locusts.
Hello. Lena and I were just discussing the design of the new trap.
I had a chat with that kid Kuno. He promised to stop stealing the locusts.
So it was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
Something is secretly gnawing at her confidence. It's not this Kuno kid or the missing locusts. It's something else.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time. And then maybe we can.
He has a 38-degree fever. His resilience has given way.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home.
You're right. We can come back next season, when it's warmer.
Damn it, maybe I can restock the trap for you.
You can? Fine. It's better than having these people get pneumonia on the coast. But after this...
Really? It's too much, officer.
What Morel means is we're grateful for your help.
Here's a fresh batch of locusts. They should slide right down the funnel. And thank you again. We will definitely mention you, should this lead to a discovery. I'm not talking co-discovery, of course, but,
Wow. Co-discovery. You'd be famous. You'd show them all. This does tingle the pleasure center.
I'll get going. Box of locusts. Cardboard box with several rows of little holes in the lid. Though at first glance the box seems perfectly ordinary, upon closer examination it's obvious that it has been prepared with great care.
The trap stands empty near the reeds. No insect sounds or movement around. Only the reeds' apprehensive hissing. The locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Good, now that's done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation? Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
Thought I was... Did I already pick up my dice? I could have sworn I ordered one. Eight hours out. I guess it's not ready yet. But maybe.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
A gust of cold air sweeps through the chimney. The stones and minerals on the shelves rattle as though agitated. For a moment, it almost feels as though you're outside the building, exposed to the atmosphere.
Naya, the curse is real, and I figured out why it has spared you.
Didn't we already talk about this?
It's because you're not in the same building as the others. This isn't technically the doomed commercial area.
What are you talking about? My address is exactly the same. Rue de Saint-Guilain 10.
No, the old coal plant that used to be here was subsumed into the new venture. Its ruins swallowed up. Yet it has a different address in the heart of the city.
No, this used to be a coal plant. You're in a chimney of another building.
This doesn't make any sense. Are you saying my business was spared because of a technicality? Where is this coming from?
It has a different address in the heart of the city.
And what? Does it mean that I'm safe from failure?
Don't let her become complacent. She still needs to ward her soul against the evil forces.
Actually, it's only your workshop that's protected. You should still do something to defend your person.
She starts laughing, her fingers trying to rub away the exhaustion from her face.
What?
Do you know what this is?
It looks like a regular piece of jewelry to me.
It's a mourning ring. I made this when my first company failed. It was a small jewelry shop right here in the East Delta Commerce Center, built with the little I inherited from my parents. I drove it into the ground within a year. I didn't have what you would call a viable business plan.
See? The curse is real. I bet you didn't run this little jewelry shop from the protective depths of the chimney.
No, you're right. I didn't. It wasn't just the jewelry shop either. I always thought that it was just the world that you were supposed to try again and again until you finally succeed. And now you're telling me what? That it was all because I didn't run my little shops and ventures from a dump inside an abandoned chimney?
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. It's entropy.
Yeah. Or maybe it's the entire world that's cursed. It's such a precarious place. Nothing ever works out the way you want it. That's why people like role-playing games. You can be whoever you want to be, you can try again. Still, there is something inherently violent even about dice rolls. It's like every time you cast a die, something disappears. Some alternative ending or an entirely different world. But anyway, thanks for sharing your theories, officer.
Seems like the point of the game is victory. The absence of defeat on all fronts. Victory in business ventures and creative undertakings. Victory in love and over other people. Political victory. Ideological victory. Hell, even sexual victory. Definitely a lot of object-based victories too. Having things and not losing them. One problem though. Not a lot of victors in sight. Everyone's mostly losing. Why is that? And how do you not lose? Next thing I want to do is confront the pigs, so I need to wait till 10. Let's spend the time playing a little game.
In your hands, you hold a brand new copy of the game, Suzerainty. It's snugly wrapped in a skin of plastic. The cover features a charming illustration depicting a mass of grinning laborers loading goods onto a ship, while a richly dressed administrator oversees their work. The exact location and time period are left deliberately vague, but it's clearly meant to represent the economic relationship between the Revacholian suzerainty and its many vassals. The box has a nice heft to it. You hear the rattle of individual wooden tokens and feel their weight shifting back and forth. What treasures wait in store for you? Even before you open it, you can tell that this will be a meaty game of grand strategy and complex player interactions. The plastic wrap rips off as easily as a bodice in a tawdry historical romance. There's a hiss as the lid slides off. Inside, you find a thick, full-color rulebook and more than a dozen pouches of various wooden components. Savor that new board game smell. A mix of wood, paper, and ink, all wrapped in the sweet must of cardboard. Welcome to Suzerainty, a game of economic strategy for the whole family. The rulebook is sumptuously illustrated and thick as a Gradian novel.
Economic strategy, more like rapacious plunder and exploration.
The colourful illustrations depict cheerful workers picking apricots, hauling marble sculptures out of crumbling temples, and harvesting a strange magenta-leafed plant. Everyone is smiling. You begin to suspect there may be a political agenda to this so-called family game. Only one way to find out. The instructions are opaque at first, and introduce many concepts you're not familiar with. Fortunately, there are many diagrams and examples throughout. You soon figure out the basic conceit. Each player represents an administrator for the suzerain of Revachol. Your objective is to increase the suzerain's wealth and renown by accumulating victory points.
How do you accumulate victory points?
That's where the suzerain's vassals come in. The game features 4 vassal nations, each one home to an economically important resource. Each turn, the player collects resources from vassals where they've placed workers. They may then rearrange their workers, fulfill contracts for coin and bonuses, or build structures back in Revachol. As you leaf through the pages, your eye catches on a sidebar labeled Advice for Beginners. Remember, there are many paths to victory in Suzerainty, but successful players will find one strategy and commit to it wholeheartedly. Boring, boring, boring. Tear up this rulebook and commit some old-school atrocities.
How is the winner determined?
The actual scoring system appears infinitely complex, with a series of tables and appendices required to compute each player's final victory point total. You skip that part for now. You open up a number of pouches containing wooden tokens. There are also several punch boards with other cardboard components that will need to be punched out before you can play.
Punch out the cardboard pieces, one by one.
Each cardboard token makes a satisfying tsk as you pop it out. Soon, a neat pile of cardboard coins and counters has accumulated before you.
What? You're not going to offer to let me punch any of them out?
In addition to the worker and building tokens used by each player, there are also several piles of colorful resource tokens, each representing one of the game's 4 principal resources. From the Empire of Safre, orange apricot tokens. From Ilmarat, the ancestral name of Ilmara, grey marble block tokens. From the Semenine Islands, white sacks of sugar tokens. And from Supramuindi and Sarah Maritza, magenta tokens for unprocessed cocaine leaves.
Oh, those are nice.
You hold the open game box before you.
Hey Kim, wanna play?
The lieutenant looks over the rulebook, before he sees something that makes his eyes go wide.
Holy shit. The average playing time for this game is 1 to 6 hours. I'm not sure we can afford to set aside that kind of time for a game.
What is detective work if not an elaborate game? You need logical inference, attention to detail, the ability to analyze your opponent's motives.
Come on, it might help us think of more creative solutions to the case.
I do feel like my thinking has become somewhat rigid. Maybe a little diversion to keep the mind limber is just what's in order.
See? He's doing the hard work himself. All he needed was a little nudge.
Alright, you've convinced me. How do we play?
I read the rules already. I'll show you.
You explain the basic setup procedures to the lieutenant, who seems to be a quick study. You each take your bag of tokens and counters and unfold the board between you. In the center is the crown of Revachon. Radiating outward are her colorful vessels, each one supplying some raw material desired by the suzerain. Apricots from Safre, archaeological treasures from Ilmarat, sugars from the Seminine Islands, and magenta cocaine from Supra Muindi and Sara Maritza. There's also a neat little log to keep track of your progress in case you need to put the game away and return to it later. The lieutenant goes first. He draws a contract card and moves several of his workers to the Safre territory of the board, and the others to the Seminine Islands.
Alright, detective, your turn.
You have a few options available to you. Will you try to fulfill contracts right away, or rearrange your workers to maximize production on future turns? Remember what the rulebook said. You'll want to choose a strategy early on and stay committed to it.
Let your workers rest for a while.
What? It's the very beginning of the game. Your workers haven't even done any work yet.
Let them rest anyway.
There's no concept of rest in suzerainty. Workers have to work. You produce a handful of archaeological treasures and a smattering of other resources. Meanwhile, the lieutenant spends 2 of his sugar and 1 of his apricot tokens to complete his contract card. He is rewarded with 4 coins and a round wooden token that he places in the center of the board.
That's a market. It's worth 2 victory points.
Hey, why don't I get one of those?
Don't worry, it was mostly just luck. You'll earn some points soon enough.
I'm not even sure what points are. That's part of the problem.
Points are nothing. They don't exist. They're just an arbitrary convention that games use to reward or punish players for certain behaviors.
I getting points right now?
There are some paranoid types who believe the moral intern keeps detailed score sheets for everyone in the Real Belt, but that's obviously nonsense. Otherwise, no. There are no points, just your actions and the consequences of those actions.
That's reassuring.
That's just the way it is. Now, I believe it's your turn.
Glancing over the board, you see several possible strategies. Pressing more workers into service would increase your economic output and help you to survive a possible conflict with the lieutenant. Or you could ignore your labor supply and focus on fulfilling contracts for points and resources. Those aren't your only options. You could also show your workers how much you appreciate them by investing some of that wealth in them. After all, they're the ones producing wealth for the suzerain. Well, sure, you can do that. It's just not a terribly effective strategy, but then it's up to you.
Invest in your existing workers.
To the lieutenant's puzzlement, you spend several turns building various improvements to your territorial infrastructure. Soon, your workers have access to clean water, paved roads, and basic hobbies. In return, they produce 1 extra resource per turn.
Too bad investing in your workers just isn't worth many points.
What do you mean?
Take a look at the scoring tables in the back. You see in Table 8C that investing in territorial infrastructure multiplies your final victory point total by 1, which is to say not at all. Whereas erecting monuments in Revachol gives you a multiplier of 5.
So you're saying I should treat my workers like disposable labor instead?
Yes, precisely.
Nonsense. Remember what the lieutenant said. If points are arbitrary, who cares about winning? You should reject their system and just play how you want. Now it's the lieutenant's turn to respond. He moves aggressively onto the Safre territory. Soon, his workers are producing a steady supply of extremely valuable apricots. How can you let the lieutenant dominate you like that? You need to hit back, and hard. For several turns, you struggle to respond to the lieutenant's burgeoning apricot empire. Eventually, you relocate the majority of your workers to Supremawindi and Saramaritsa, where they begin producing a bumper crop of cocaine tokens. You draw a new contract card. According to the text, there's an aristocrat willing to trade a large supply of cocaine for a number of coins and access to a rare bonus. Amplified music worth 7 victory points. You know, this isn't unlike the situation the historical Revacholian suzerainty faced in Safre in the middle of the last century.
Tell me more.
Well, the suzerain was looking for new markets for all the cocaine it was producing, and it settled on Safre. By introducing cocaine into Safre under exclusive contract, the suzerain created an extremely valuable captive market for an extremely addictive product.
That's fucked up.
If you could somehow get the lieutenant's workers addicted to your cocaine, you could not only make them less productive, you would also force the lieutenant to pay you for your cocaine tokens each turn.
Can you even do that?
Yes, you can. It's right there in the rules. You've reached a critical strategic juncture. How do you respond to the lieutenant's aggression?
Give back to the workers.
Instead of focusing on amassing points, you embark on a quixotic project to win the hearts of your worker tokens. After several turns, you've unlocked advanced hobbies and health insurance. Your workers now produce an extra 2 resources per turn.
You do realize the game is called Suzerainty and not Workers' Paradise, right?
I'm just trying to do right by the people who actually generate the suzerain's wealth.
I don't think the suzerain cares much about the welfare of its workers. Here, watch this.
The lieutenant continues his strategy of aggressively producing apricots for export. He fulfills contract after contract, racking up ever more victory points. The end game is upon you. What will be your crowning achievement as the suzerain's territorial administrator? You could continue your efforts to win the hearts of your worker tokens by building the rarely attempted public education system for your territories. Alternatively, you could actually try to win the game by building the extremely valuable victory column in Revachol, or by crushing the lieutenant in a devastating trade war. The choice is yours. Your commitment to doing right by your workers pays off, and you manage to construct the rarely attempted public education system. You truly have the best educated worker tokens in the entire world. Unfortunately, you were sent to the territories to produce raw resources, not overly educated second-class citizens. If anything, this might negatively impact your final score.
See? I warned you investing in your workers wasn't going to pay off.
You taught me that points are arbitrary. I decided to play the game how I wanted instead.
The lieutenant opens his mouth, as if to issue a blistering retort, then hesitates.
You know, detective, there's something admirable about that, in its own way. Now, let's tally up the scores, shall we?
Computing the final scores is almost a game unto itself. You each spend an inordinate amount of time making stacks of coins, consulting tables, and struggling with basic addition and multiplication. After double, then triple checking your maths, you have your final score. 2 points. Though you're beloved by your well-educated worker tokens, the suzerain is immensely displeased and recalls you from your post.
I've got 20 points. Hey, at least you went out playing the game how you wanted. There's something to be said for that. Now let's clean up and get back to work.
You hold the open game box before you.
Didn't kill nearly as much time as I'd hoped.
Hello, dear.
I
Good to see a familiar face.
restocked the empty trap. Where's Morel?
Thank you for doing that, dear.
Her smile is weary. Her earlier ebullience has left her.
Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him.
It's probably for the best. It's awfully cold out there in those reeds.
I'm sorry, dear. You've had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game, as they say.
So, who's gonna check the traps?
Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
We'll take care of it.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up.
Lena, what's wrong? You seem different.
Different? How?
You've given up on the Phasmid.
I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. Everyone is now and then.
You're in doubt? About what?
It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are a police officer. Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Seeing the Insulindian Phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real or not.
But Morel told me you'd seen it. You also told me.
Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone.
A terrible sting in the heart. Regret.
You seemed to really believe it happened. Doesn't that count for something?
No, sweetie. There's more to it than that. Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the Phasmid's existence. That I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That. And for years, his belief made me believe too.
That I am a queen? An extraordinary witness to grace.
But now, we're both getting old, and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was.
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything.
Don't want to auto-fail this.
An acorn is not the same as the tree. That requires time, diligence, and care.
Wrong or not, your relationship with Morel isn't just about the Phasmid.
But it is. We've spent years searching for the Phasmid, hunting it together. Without it, what are we? Just another pathetic old couple. If I hadn't led him down this path, he could have a steady job lecturing at a university.
You know, this reminds you of the Pericanasian theory of love. In essence, love is a relay out of death. Generation by generation, our love remains in our progeny. Lay some of that on her.
Normally, when I think about stuff like women and marriage, I feel bad. When I think about you and Morel, I feel okay. That counts for something, no?
Oh, of course it counts for something. But we've had our hard times too. I was a paraplegic before we met. He didn't know before I arrived, on our first date. If I weren't the queen of the cryptozoologists, if I didn't tell him that story...
She has to swallow to relax her throat. It's keeping her from talking.
He'd still be into you. That's not how these things work.
Maybe. But then why do I not dare tell him? I've wasted enough of your time with this drama. I really must stop talking about it lest I start crying and waste more of your time. What you have to know is the Insulindian phasmid probably does not exist. Let us fools chase our ghosts. There are a million better things to do with your life.
Are there? Some of the other things are pretty bad.
To hell with this. I still believe you saw the phasmid.
A true believer. Sometimes I still see it too. The real memory of it, how it was there. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart.
Rising, unfolding from the reeds on a hot summer's day, like a benevolent god.
Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary.
Are you sure you don't need help getting to Gary's?
Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad.
You do that. I'll check the traps one more time.
Really?
Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel.
Can I have your address? Just in case there's news.
Okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road. Jamrock, but...
A sigh. She doesn't think you'll need it.
The rest of it is pretty grim. Thanks for bringing some light.
You're welcome, sweetie. I'm glad it helped you, even though it turned out to be a
waste of time. A dream. A fool's hope. Say her lips moving in silence. Like that, she drives off. The gas engine putters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, the cold, coastal wind blows.
We should go to...
Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the felled building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness, to ask the wind once more. trap is full of locusts, but they seem weak and unhealthy. A few lie on their backs with their legs twitching. Still, no phasmid. Poor things. Winter, slow to let go of Revachol. Flecks some more wet snow from above. The snow falls lazily, making the beach sand paler still, mixing with the rust-colored sewage runoff. It has been a cold year. All things waiting for spring will have to wait a bit longer.
What am I doing?
Looking up at the sky, melted snow dripping from your hat.
What do I see?
The sky is full of great battleships. White clouds collide with one another, and the world is drenched with their debris.
How does it feel?
You're warm in your hat and your coat. Like a well-equipped explorer, you comfortably survey the white landscape.
What's in the west?
More winding coastlines lined with abandoned buildings, crumbling piers, salt water lapping at their dark piles, grey and red forgotten city blocks, what remains of the pre-revolutionary effort to gentrify the coast.
And beyond that?
The waters turn black, coal city in the shadow of San Martin, a boom town, back when coal extracted from countless shafts near the city was needed to power Revachol. No more. The coal was supplanted by petroleum from the ocean floor and hydropower from the Esperance. Everything crumbled. These days, only the weakest remain in Coal City. Their hopes of getting rich linger in the defunct shafts under their feet.
What is there?
Below the old mines, L'Océan Municipal, Revachol's underground cemetery. Le Petit Rat braved the underground passageways, trying to get to Le Royaume.
Betty Rat.
Children under 14, they go underground looking for artifacts to sell to foreign museums and for fabled relics. Their parents let them. They go deeper.
Deeper.
After rubies, melchiorite, lapis lazuli, plundered from Safle and Seol during the time of the suzerain, in the burial chambers of the kings, Grand old Philip, Guillaume II, and even in the mausoleum of Philip the Opulent. 2 kilometers underground, in a winding shaft along whose walls mirrors have been placed, so that daylight may eternally fall upon the richest of all the kings. The mausoleum contains untold quantities of gold, and that special, purest of the pure magenta cocaine, favored by Revacholian royalty. How can it be pure if it's magenta?
How can it be pure if it's magenta?
Snow falls, and there is no answer. Some things are not for mortals to know. Few Petit Rat return from the shafts. Even fewer find what they're looking for. A small child steps out of the black tunnel with silver trinkets in her pockets. All around her, white snow on the extinguished coke furnaces and on the weather-worn shacks where fathers beat their sons after drinking. The snow melts on your fingers, turning to water.
What's in the east?
The canal you crossed to get here and beyond it. Martinez proper, the district the police forgot to police. There is laughter, lights, attempts at entrepreneurial activity, cynicism. Someone is scraping snow off their windshield at the roundabout, in the midst of which a statue of Philip III serves as a destination for grade school field trips and a fine perch for winter birds.
That's all.
Like all monuments, it's also a warning. 6-story ruins on the south side of the roundabout cast a long shadow over the profligate king.
And further.
A fenced-off yard. There's a truck belonging to a logistics company parked next to the gate. Bright light from a building behind the fence reflects off its hood. Clean white light coming from the windows of a clean cube-shaped office building hidden amidst ruins. A secret.
What's in the north?
The abandoned church, its walls covered with hoarfrost now. One of Lisette's sœurs. The other 6 sisters were destroyed during the revolution.
And further north?
A serpentine strip of land weaving its way into the Martinez Inlet. Unfortunates on the run from the law, from themselves, sometimes hide out on nearby islets. Little dots in the ocean that are occasionally submerged when the tide is high and the weather foul.
And on the islets?
The remains of a camp on a jagged piece of rock, a tent, old dishes and cutlery, long since abandoned. A hermit crab scuttles among the debris, looking for a new shell. Further out, the lights burn bright on Resurrection, way beyond Martinez, a popular spa destination for ample-bodied Ozon kids with equally ample pockets.
And on the other side of the inlet?
Then there's Ozon, but the snow falls too thick. You cannot see that far.
Before that, before the curtains are drawn.
The Bay of Revachol, vastness, great depth, over 1,200 meters at its deepest. Water, air-brinier than here. It is crisscrossed by huge cargo ships bearing company logos. Wild pines, Zam, Morien. And at the farthest reaches of the Bay of Revachol, the shadow of the coalition warship, Archer, on perpetual patrol duty, ready to unleash artillery fire if you were to rise up against the market. You shudder.
What's in the south?
The raised motorway, 881, separating Martinez from Jamrock. Vehicles whoosh past one another day and night, while those who reside in the labyrinthine alleyways beneath the motorway attempt to carry on with their lives in the snow and the slush. And south of the 881 is the Pox.
The Pox.
Was once a park, a place for reflection and recuperation for the patients of the old military hospital. In the 20s, it was used as a quarantine center during a measles outbreak that killed many children. Most everyone has avoided the hospital and surrounding park ever since. The Pox is completely wild now. Evergreen thickets covered in snow and industrial dust. Feral dogs and even wolves roaming in packs. The police try to keep the deepest corners cordoned off.
But still.
Heavy drug users do slip through and hole up in the old military hospital, hoping to find something to get high on among the hastily abandoned supplies, or just to overdose in peace.
Further south.
A line of motor garages with armored carapaces hunched in the cold. A mechanic is hard at work, patching up bullet holes in the side of a Capri 40. These are the garages of Precinct 41. Snow settles on the roof of the repurposed silk mill. It serves as your station. Shivering RCM personnel hurry in and out of the main entrance. Around you, the snow continues to fall. To the west, the ocean swells.
No. It was home. I want more.
The stairs descend to central Jamrock. A man named Cooklove has a snow-covered stall there in the market across the bridge. He sells kebab infested with fly larvae to your colleagues who believe eating it will make them immune to food poisoning. Snow falls on the utility district, the library, the florist, the Sarah Mauritian restaurant that offers homemade wine, and also on the brothels and drug dens and the chop shops of the Zemlyaki. All of this built around a lake that formed in a meteorite strike. At the center of this lake, there is a little ship. There are lights at the bottom of its hull. They are lights directed toward the seafloor, looking for something, like whiskers.
For what?
A chill comes over you, crawling down your back. The sand under your feet is wet. Somewhere in the south, tarpaulin flap in the wind.
What's below me?
Layer upon layer of sand, poisoned with industrial runoff. The storm drainage, hidden bunkers. Rats scuttle.
Tell me a secret of the sands, wind.
Someone stuffed a big old polar anorak into a concrete pipe under the boardwalk. It would keep you warm. You would probably never happen across it. But who knows?
Where is Ruby?
Near. Snow falls into dark water. She prays, though she doesn't believe. There is a hum in the air. That's all.
We should keep moving. Who knows when the snow will let up.
Fairweather T500. Remember that weakness you were looking for in the ceramic armor? Like, maybe it can only stop small, fast projectiles, but a large, slow-moving pry bar would shatter it? Or, if I run an electrical current through it, maybe it will melt. Or, personal favorite, frequency something something radio weapon? None of that would work. You need to shoot the part of the enemy that doesn't have Fairweather T500 on it, because the armor itself is invulnerable. Good news is, so are the armor pieces on you.
There's a slit in the concrete here. A sewer.
You pick up the handset. There's a tone. The machine is operable.
Just going to check on Kofi's. Oh, yeah, we've had a couple. Kofi from Red Dead Zombie. Hey, hope you are well. The premiere was great fun. It was lovely to meet you and Sash and Hayrim and Aaron and Retro Bagel. Congrats on finishing the live show script. What's it like writing for theatre? Do you prefer it to novels/audio drama? Alex actually took the lead in the first pass of writing the live show. I'm currently in the middle of doing the edit for it. But I do like writing theatre stuff. I did a lot of theatre writing back in uni. It's in many ways very similar to radio stuff, to sort of podcast stuff. But you need to have a lot more consciousness of the physicality and a lot more consciousness of what is possible, in the sense of like, for audio stuff, you need to think about like how to communicate the visual through pure audio. In live stuff, you have video, you have visual, and you have audio, but you also have a lot more. You have the limitations of the physical, which you don't in a lot of other mediums. And Kofi from Mikey. Hey there, I hope you had a nice Halloween. I'm almost finished with 13 stories and I've rarely went through a book that quickly. So far, it's definitely a 5-star read. Ah, marvellous. Well, I hope the ending doesn't sour you on it. I don't think it will, but, enjoy. Right. Let's find out what happens. Start another number.
Calling.
I'm tired.
Sounds like he hasn't talked to anyone in quite a while.
What are you tired of?
Writing. hate writing so much, but I have to get back to it.
The man disappears with a sigh. You do not hear the customary disconnect tone, just silence in the handset. Seems like it did not have time to swallow the coin. This sometimes happens. Lucky you, the call went too fast for the payphone to register. You can still make a new one without paying. You close your eyes and put your index finger on the rotary dial, then pull down on the number, then move one up, and repeat the motion twice. Strange. This is not how you started before.
Wait, why did I just do that? What did I just do?
You dialed 001. This is not the area code of Revachol. It is another destination on another Isola. Some far-off nation-state. 005 is Revachol, ZOC. 001 is Grad, on the Gradian Isola, where the telephone was invented. The next two digits you dial are the area code for the city of Mirova. 414447. The rotary dial feels cold from the sea air. 1117361. Your fingers keep moving like a spider every time the ring rotates back with a little ring of metal, like a bell tolling.
There's more.
Yes. 451-67-451. You are going deeper now, into some unknown place, far away from this island of matter and its telecommunication networks.
Finish it.
451. You have dialed God knows how many numbers. The headset has been waiting silently to relay a signal. Surely nothing can come of this, you think. But it does. A connection. An ultra-long distance call. Your air fills with a crackle, the wash of a strange ocean full of white noise. A little bird starts ringing in there, not like the local calling tone before. No, a small ring in a cage of distortion, far away. A distant network of phones. Calling. Calling in the night. The saddest sound in the world. Both pitiful and terrifying. You feel your pulse rising with each ring. Calling still. The handset starts slipping from your sweaty palm. Your breathing is heavy.
And
The lieutenant is too far away to hear your yelp. The sea wind blows. You can't. Some strange force is keeping the headset glued to your hand. Your ear listening to the ring in the speaker. Calling. 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 Calling still. Then the ocean breaks. Out of the depths, a woman's voice emerges. Small. The dearest thing you've ever heard.
Hello?
who is this?
Dora, who is this? The connection is bad.
Dora. The name feels like a gift. A gift that was meant for you. To make it possible to live. And fight. In the distorted distance, you hear someone turning next to her. Bed springs rattle. Don't react. Whatever you do, don't react to that last thing. It doesn't matter if you react or not. You still think you hear a man's voice in the background. It's covered in pain and white noise.
Your voice is so beautiful.
No, no. It's you, isn't it? It's you.
Hello.
Hmm. Who is this?
I'm a revolutionary servant of humanity. I will free mankind and abolish the classes. I will raise the dead.
You're not a revolutionary, Harry. You're drunk.
You only have 2, maybe 3 things left to say before the change runs out.
I'm not drunk or high, I'm just hurt. Why does it hurt to talk to you?
Oh, God. Do you know what time it is? It's so late here. It's 4 o'clock, Harry. I need to wake up in 2 hours.
I am the law. I'm a detective. I'm doing a case. There's a hanged man.
She does not answer anymore.
I'm gonna solve it.
Harry.
Disconnect tone. The machine ran out of money. Run to the church, home, anywhere but here. Anything but calling her again.
The building before you housed the engine. Must have been a big one.
Just dead and dying locusts, and the slow swaying of surrounding reeds. Poor things. The light vanishes inside the concrete slit. The structure goes deep under the earth.
What's in there?
Maybe it's just a storm drain for the sewer.
Kim, any idea what's down there?
No idea. Could be connected to one of the buildings around here.
Think we might find Ruby down there.
We might find her down somewhere. There's an old storm drain system beneath Martinez that's mostly collapsed. Revachol sewage system has been built and rebuilt 4 or 5 times now. In conclusion, she could be under any building.
But not in there.
I hope not.
Oh!
There's no echo and no answer. A few locusts trudge along the wall of the trap. The rest are piled in a heap in the corner, dead. No phasmid anywhere. Poor things. The trap is filled with dead and dying locusts. Most of them aren't moving anymore. You still can't see a phasmid anywhere. Poor things.
Delorian Church! The place to be! Make some noise, my church people!
Vibrations thump through your blue soul. The music sounds much better in the church. He stands on stage behind a table, nodding along to the music and waving his hand in the air. In front of him, the audio mixer, one reel spinning. The other reel deck is empty. Cables run hither and thither. On one side, you see an auxiliary line in with the number 4.5 written next to it.
How do you like it in the church?
Yeah! Back on the case! No disgrace! Bring it down to party place! The first page of the second chapter!
Could it be? Maybe for him, you only have a chapter or two left in you. Last of the penultimate, more like.
I found this reel of tape. Maybe you can use it to hard up Ike's jam.
Yeah! Remix time! Tape goes here, into deck B!
A hand on his ear, he listens to the audio through his headphones and shouts.
Wow! Did you get this from Arno himself?
A great excitement is bubbling to the surface within him. This is big.
No, actually I found it tangled up in a hawthorn tree.
Listen, I'm just going to show it to you. Ready?
Ready?
Wow! Here's that! The signs match perfectly! Now if only we had the beat for the full assault, it would be unbelievably hyper!
What is this? It's good. How did you guys do that?
Do what? I just found a random tape and brought it to Egghead. He's just incredibly good at remixing.
Yes, but what if Van Eyck based his remix on some forgotten local melody, like a folk song, and you just found the original piece that inspired him to create this jam? That would explain why it fits so well.
Nah, to me it sounds like classic Van Eyck. I don't think he needs any inspiration from folk songs. Maybe he lives in Martinez and just threw away part of his song because he thought it wasn't good enough?
I think it's just happenstance. Chaos in action. Contingencies of our limited existence. That and Egghead's fantastic talent.
Noid's right. Egghead's technical talent is the key. No, this is definitely part of the same song. Something cut from it. It fits too well. Something mysterious is going on here.
I agree with Noid. It's just luck. And Egghead's incredible mixing skill.
Be how it may, if it fits, it fits! Bring up the volume!
What about the bass? Do you have any ideas for that? Yeah, I remember. You said it needs more bass.
You can't just leave it without a bass track.
Honestly, nothing springs to my mind right now, but I'll see if I can come up with a solution down the lane.
Yo, the warrior! The warrior of dance music!
Don't be too hard on yourself if you don't figure it out. I think the jam's already pretty ultra.
But it could be hyper hardcore!
Alright, Goodbye, Egghead. The question won't leave you. Why did the melody line from a broken and discarded tape fit perfectly into a song played by some speed freaks in a frozen tent? Can it be coincidence? Maybe it's the hand of the man-machine himself in his attempt to craft a perfect song. Maybe Egghead is actually Arno van Eyck in disguise. Eyck? Egg?
You got us in, cop. I can't believe you got us in.
With wonder in his sharp eyes.
Between you and me, I don't know if you've noticed this about me. I'm a little suspicious of authority, but you really came through for the hardcore underground.
Yes, you really came through for the hardcore underground. How come?
Andre is busy cutting some slightly less lame, but still quite ungainly shapes on the church floor, sweating profusely. Estelle using her contact mic to listen to a tree underwater. The one with the large head is blasting the dance track on repeat, while the stained glass window behind him is rattling from the bass.
These kids got spunk. I admire that.
Okay.
What he means is, you can't possibly have handed them this real estate for such a flimsy reason. Then again, whatever keeps your nose out of the bottle and on the job.
Noid, what do you think about the church?
It's a miracle of carpentry. Dead bodies carved into total shapes. Now it can be something more.
How old do you think the church is? Over 300 years?
That's right. The first settlers built it, plus 6 more like it, on the coast here. Was one of the first things they did. Must have been really scared of something, but I understand. Alone on an uninhabited archipelago, forced to face themselves and nature. Pre-industrial quantities of solitude. The sea, perhaps something more fundamental.
He means something paranatural. He must...
I would want to build a safe place for myself and my own as well.
What style is this church built in?
A cop who's into building critique. Okay then, this is folk DeLoreanism. Lawmonger, huh? It's a subset of early DeLorean architecture.
I'm not just a cop, I'm an art cop.
Art of core.
Okay, and what is DeLorean architecture like?
Total. Everything between an ancient concrete cathedral and a glass cube is DeLoreanism. This is just an homespun version of it. Folksy stuff. Early mass production. They made thousands like this. Does that help you out?
What would a DeLorean building look like?
Like that woman there. Vertical, thin, white. A false image of grandeur. The source of the system is up there. You're at the bottom. They really dug that power vertical. Like to show off large and intricate structures. Arches, spires. Put you down with them. They were really into painting everything white too. Virginal shit, you know. Married shit. Virtue and tyranny.
This church isn't painted white as far as I can tell.
Stands to reason it used to be white on the outside. Before the sea wind took all the paint off.
Year after year, flake after flake, whitewashed clean, then covered in green moss. Slowly, peeled by the wind, your skin crawls from the sensation as you look around.
What did you mean by dead bodies?
Dead bodies of perennial plants. Sigma functions have left this place. It's a good thing we came along. The spiritual collapse has been total.
Spiritual collapse?
I saw some piglets suckling their dead mother. Have you heard this one, cop man? After a short while, they shuddered and went away. They had sensed that she could no longer see them and that she wasn't like them anymore. What they loved in their mother weren't her body, but whatever it was that made her body live. End of quote. This is an high-quality carcass. The power of anodic beats and hard bass is needed to reanimate it.
First, where's that quote from?
A Sarais man who lived a long time ago, an ancient hardcore brother.
So, what you're saying is religion has stopped being hardcore.
It never was. A 3,000-year-old regime of history, built by hundreds of generations of self-appointed intellectuals. It's false to the core.
The way he says it, the force in false core, is invested with 20 kilotons of disgust.
But you guys said the Ecclesiastes were all about love and hardcore. Before, remember?
I only said unity. One word. Figures of authority always misquote you. Andre doesn't care about the Ecclesiastes. He just wants the operation to run smoothly. And Egg is a demi-beast. You shouldn't listen to what people say. You should listen to what they are.
And you propose dance music will supplant this system.
Anodic dance music. Regular dance music wasn't hard enough. And yes, I do.
How do you let the glass work?
I don't. Fuck her giving me the evil eye.
I'm getting some real negative vibrations from her too.
No wonder. We have to get rid of it. Dismantle it. Can't dance with a giant mass murderer looking at ya. Not a good look for the club.
Mellow, man, mellow. No one's a mass murderer. This is a house of love.
Mass murder on the floor!
I do feel there is something terrifying about her.
There is. She is a party repellent and must be taken down before we can begin partying in here.
No, that's not it. It's something more. Something closer to your skin. The speed freak looks the same way. It is dark there in the back of the church. For a moment, the music echoes strangely.
But she's an innocence of humanism. Humanism seems to be a pretty big deal around here.
Humanism leads to eating sugar and pigs. Humanism was invented to mass-produce billions of humans. Billions of humans can mass-produce hundreds of billions of pigs.
And many, many more tons of sugar.
She liked games. Her legacy, the thing we live in, isn't real life. It's a strategy for some kind of victory against a long-dead opponent. But, yo, I'm only annoyed. What do I know?
Would you say she was, human?
I like this question, Cop Man. She did not live the life of a human. She lived like someone who's playing a game. The life of an operator. That's not the life that humans live. She was adored. Humans aren't. I don't know about you, but they hate me. And they do not think I'm innocent or some shit like that.
Yeah. I hate this too.
Well, they loved her. They put all their love in her and forgot all about the rest of us.
Yeah, I'm done talking about her. I don't want to think about her anymore.
What a strange choice of words. Caustic, overflowing with negativity. That can't be healthy. What's happening here? Why do you keep coming back to this window?
Oh no.
Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't come back to this anymore. Stop talking about it, please.
How are you settling in?
Hard to say, cop man. Signs in here are distinctly wild. Gonna take a while before everything's properly synced. I did get to talk to the crab man though.
You mean Diego?
Anyway, he's been giving me kind of a psychic rundown of this place. Dude's seen some crazy shit, but he's actually a lot like us.
You mean all his mother's love stuff isn't too spooky for you?
Have you been listening to what Egg's been saying? Love is hardcore, man. And the mother's love is the hardest core of all. The man picks up on stuff. And he knows a lot about the church. I got a lot to learn from him. Good thing you didn't squash him.
Why are you so suspicious about everything?
Suspicious people are esoteric people. We don't go around spilling everything to Johnny Law. They don't call me Noid for nothing. It took us setting out for this whole enterprise to get our signs synced.
Why are you called Noid anyway?
It's short for paranoid.
May I ask why? What good is being suspicious?
A reasonable question. Say I get hurt. I want to make sure it never happens again. So I analyse the situation. Exercise caution. Caution is suspicion.
What are you suspicious of?
It'd be easier to list stuff I'm not suspicious of. I'm not suspicious of sound and colour. Mechanics and chemistry also have a trueness about them. Most anything else deceives. Wants to steal your life away.
This is a good, dangerous line of questioning. You should prod him on.
What are the most suspicious things?
I don't have a top 10 list of things I'm most suspicious of, but if I had one, the left-right complex would be number 1. Number 2 would be their sole accomplishment, the pig-wheat paradigm.
Something is off here. You feel like it should be the other way around.
Oh, you mean the left-right paradigm and the pig-wheat complex?
No, politics is an inert complex of daily corruption and inane think pieces. The real paradigm is economic, and it concerns pig and wheat. This is where the innovation happens. It's only a theory. I suspect they're breeding a pig-wheat hybrid. Probably in Grad.
Tell me more about the left-right business.
I prefer not to. Both ask the wrong questions. Any spark of light from either one is accidental. Their combined movement's only concern is producing enough pig and wheat for everyone. The end goal of humanity. The original mistake was assuming that words have more being than bodies. That's what led us astray. Far from our true lives, but we may yet find a way back.
Whatever this true life is, you feel it's the real centerpiece of this mythology.
What's suspicious about the production of pork and wheat?
It's our only shit. We should make better use of not being animals or cereal grain ourselves.
Yeah. It's our only shit and we fucking suck at it.
Correct.
He can't help but doubt your sincerity in this matter. There is no other way. You are a police officer. The young man doesn't say anything either. After a while, he takes out a magnet and runs it over some nails in front of him.
Well, that was certainly stimulating. I want to ask you about something else now.
His eyes flicker.
You mentioned true life. What would that be like?
A life is true if it's free from fear, an internal division among oneself. And others, mankind has seeds of greatness in it. A germinal will come, a return to trueness, it will be hardcore.
How would you go about returning to this true life?
Beats and bright lights to shatter falsehoods. Nerve impulses for the collective body. We are very much alike in basic structure. An hard enough beat would awaken everyone to a truer calling. In unity.
Just like that. The speed freak is right in your face. His eyes burning. His comrades look on worriedly. The young man is dead serious about this. Rejection of the right-left axis. Emphasis on unity. Appreciation of some primordial mode of being. What does that remind you of?
Sort of like fascism, then.
Nationalism, militarism, racism, and emphasis on a leader character are totally absent in hardcore.
Fair enough. Just making an observation.
He picks up a wrench and scratches his head with it, unaroused by fascism.
So you're advocating a noise-based society?
Many non-Occidental cultures share a beat at their art. Thus, they are closer to true, hardcore life. There's just never been enough of them, and they had to rely on some extremely basic percussion.
You keep mentioning hardcore. What does it mean to you?
Utmost dedication. Thoughts from the spinal cord. It's a potent superlative as well.
The term also signifies certain varieties of pornography that depict penetration, just so you know.
Egghead usually has a better concept of the hardcore. He just really likes saying hardcore.
Hardcore!
The term hardcore also denotes a strain of pornography that depicts penetration. Did you know that?
That's a pretty hardcore coincidence, don't you think?
Yeah!
Let's change the subject.
Oh yeah, sure thing.
Take care, Noid.
Put your hands where I can see them.
Show me your hands. This is the pigs. Show me your hands. Right now! Show me your hands! Right now!
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back. The flickering light show reveals a gun in her shaking hand. Her hand is trembling from some sort of neurodegenerative disease.
Madame, please drop the firearm immediately.
You shouldn't be here. Something's very wrong with her. She's completely out of control.
No! I need this ledger to take notes.
Failure to comply. Suspect is displaying aggression. Officer, under duress! Officer, under duress! I am the police. Don't move. Don't move. Hands on your head. Suspect is armed and dangerous.
Mom, I need you to calm down. We just want to talk.
Lateral vascular neck restraint. Carotid sleeper. Carotid sleeper. Critically reducing blood from passing through the neck of the suspect.
Be careful, detective. Don't do anything that might set her off.
Please identify yourself, Mom.
It's the goddamn police, shitbag. Cut the pavement. You're under arrest.
As she waves her hands, you notice familiar-looking ampoules and packets sticking out of the mountain of police gear on her back. Medicine or drugs? She thinks she's a police officer. Try treating her like a police officer. A lower-ranking police officer.
Officer Pigs, double afraid to Harriet Dubrow requesting your sidearm for inspection.
What?
Patrol officer, you're in gross violation of the RCEM Code of Conduct.
Sir?
In this moment of hesitation, she almost doesn't seem disturbed, but like someone suddenly wakened from a deep sleep.
Patrol officer, I have to sign you up for a disciplinary hearing.
Easy. Press her too hard and shit.
With a swift, poorly coordinated move, the woman slams the megaphone against her lips and teeth. A trickle of blood runs down her chin.
Officer compromise, unlawful impersonation. Pigs en route. Engage your will.
Okay, she's actually more agitated now. My bad.
Are you on drugs?
Confiscated contraband. Restricted access. 2 kilos missing. Eyewitness report compromised.
I don't think she's on drugs. Being off drugs might actually be the problem here.
Alright, here's the plan. You hurl the ledger in her face, already darting right, and immediately close the distance. Left hand grabs the barrel, right one breaks the wrist. No, that won't be necessary. Look closer. The gun, all 3 barrels, red and blue light shining through. It's not loaded.
I'm almost certain there are no bullets in that gun.
Huh? My God, I think you're right.
Mom, the weapon you're holding is mine, and I know it has no bullets.
What?
Wait,
This isn't police issue. Police weapons have bullets. This isn't real. What is this? Police guns always have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
She looks devastated. Grab the gun, right now. This might be your only chance.
No one ever cares anymore. Why would they treat me like this?
Poor woman. We need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
I'm very sorry this is how life turned out for you.
Her scratched skin is warm to the touch, but the person inside doesn't even know you're there.
What do you think is happening to her?
She's in a stupor. I've seen this before. God knows for how long. Could be days when they get like this.
But why was she like this in the first place?
Honestly, I don't know. Dementia, probably. Dementia and Channel 8, and loneliness.
Neurodegenerative disease.
Could be. Her hands were trembling, and she did seem uncoordinated. But what are we gonna do with her?
Should we just arrest her?
I don't think there's any need for that. In her current state, and without a gun, she isn't really a threat to anyone. We could let Titus know. This is a perfect problem for the local peacekeepers to handle. They might even know her family.
Yeah. Titus sounds like the man for the job.
Then we can ask him once we get back to the whirling. But we have to hurry, cause it's late, and they might have already gone home. But I think we're done here for now. Let's head out. This is done.
Please, leave the radio on.
Reflex to what? Being left alone? She stands motionless. Just a heap of clothes and flashes now. Maybe if you search her once more. Anna van Eyck. Okay, so Egghead is clearly not Van Eyck in disguise. Van Eyck is an Oranese disc jockey, but those people get around, especially in Revachol, in the clubs on Boogie Street. Perhaps he stayed here for a short stint and discarded part of the song he was working on, just threw it away, and then it ended up in the hawthorn tree. But why? Did he think it was retrograde? It wasn't. Perhaps he caught a glimpse of the future and did not want for it to arrive just yet. Perhaps the city whispered the top line to him, and he was frightened by it. The woman stands slumped. She looks catatonic under her mountain of RCM paraphernalia. Is one of those things a police cap? There were narcotics in there, too. You're thinking of taking them? Do. She doesn't even flinch as you reach out and disentangle the familiar-looking lieutenant's cap from her mountain of RCM paraphernalia.
Oh, is that yours?
It's hard to say. It's been so long since you wore yours.
Maybe. Probably. You know me.
It's your hat.
RCM Lieutenant's cap. +1 authority. Member of an organization. The cap is sturdy and comfortable and seems to retain its form very well. It fits you perfectly, and the inside of it smells like cheap tobacco and typewriter ink. It feels familiar somehow. Perhaps it too is yours, though how the pigs got it is a mystery. Equipped this when times are most dire. A 3-shot revolving barrel Villiers LaSalle pepper box, typically assigned to officers of the RCM upon reaching the rank of sergeant. The butt of the gun is worn, and the engraving on the side reads Sunrise Parabellum. This is your gun. No doubt about it. Got 2 bullets. Faint smell of soldering, melted insulation, nylon, and ozone.
The Copper-nado is back. What do you want?
There's an old catatonic lady in the old fish market on the other side of the bay. She needs help.
What's that, Copper? You want us to help little old ladies now?
You're local law enforcement, aren't you? Helping troubled civilians should fall under your jurisdiction.
Yeah. We'll send someone out. Who is? Wait. It's the pigs, isn't it?
Yep. Huh.
God. Poor lady. Don't worry. We'll handle this. I think she got some family in Kuron or something. Bastards left her alone when she got sick. We've been getting complaints.
Hey, wasn't Everard's B team looking for her the other day? They said something about her, I don't know, finding something?
Yeah, I think you're right, Gene. She have something of yours, Pig?
Nope. She didn't have anything of mine.
No? Well, whatever then, copper.
No. They totally said what it was. What was it? Anyone remember?
I don't remember. I was fucking drunk.
Let me know if you figure it out back there. Now, anything else we can help you with?
What's her name? Her real name?
Auntie LaPlante, we always called her. Something LaPlante.
Marianne, amigo.
Marianne LaPlante.
Be anything else you wanted to know?
Where'd she get all her cop gear?
Dunno. She lives by the water. Shit washes up all the time on the beach.
Police paraphernalia doesn't just wash up on the coast, people. It's not like we dump it at night. She bought it, collected it.
Station 41. A man carries a crate of rusted, unused badges. You think these would net us something at the annual auction? A balding detective drags a comb futilely across his head. Shit, who'd want those? Just dump them into the river.
Who was she?
Was, like before. Just an old lady. Her kids moved away years ago. Never come to visit. Never took her calls. She gets out every now and then. She did right by lots of us when we were kids. Always was a little off, but still.
Us kids? That must have been ages ago. She was better then. The children kept her together.
How did she get like this?
Wanted to be a cop, you mean? Well, shit. I don't actually know. Anyone know why she started acting like a pig?
No fucking clue. It's gotta be the crazy. Who'd want to be a pig?
Someone who wanted to set the world right before it ends. Ever think of that?
No, I didn't. Because I'm not fucking stupid, Polizonte.
Yeah, Carl. That's some pretty fucking weird shit to say. The pigs level weird. But whatever gets you through the day.
Thanks for helping out with this one, Titus.
No problem, old cop man. We take care of our mentally ill here in Martinez. Ain't that right, boys?
Sure enough, we're the real heroes on these streets.
I'm gonna take off now.
Tremble. The time is now. Taola.
What time?
Time for the show. For Taola. The hallowed time of fear and disintegration. A countdown has begun. All will collapse on itself. The world will disappear into a single grain of blackness. All sound will be muted. All life will scream.
Taola. What's that?
Ulogu Theodos. Xeno Zausin. Ipoli Osithian. Echondes Fronisin.
Wait. When did this countdown begin?
Monday morning. The moment you arrived in this reality are the first crack in the sheer face of God. From you it will spread.
This is because of the insane world ending I've been saying, isn't it?
Yes, you spoke the words of the Palindropos and the houses of Pericarnassus. Items, people, even words will tumble. All will lose its meaning in the coming years. That is why you marked yourself.
Am I sure it's not just a joke or some kind of coping mechanism?
It's totally also a coping mechanism.
I'm a little afraid.
So you should be. The world island crumbles at your feet, and in the far plain, Palindropos. Perhaps, just a thought, this has something to do with the hangover.
I do think the world might end soon.
The face of the woman fractures. There will be herd killing. We all become vapor.
You woke up in a hotel room and started rambling about the end of the world. It's not your normal everyday doom crying either. Something truly colossal is approaching. The gloaming, the culling, the bloodletting of unimaginable proportions. Until now, you've been pleasantly vague about the precise nature of this cataclysm. No more. Put the bloodletting on the burner and really figure out what's threatening the fragile physical reality you've just found yourself in. A message has been carved into the wall. Trance Nation, Ike Nation. The musty smell of a potato cellar in spring emanates from the air vent. I think this might be a decent point to call it for the day. I've got a couple more Kofis to read at the end. Kofi from Red Dead Zombie. My good news for the week. My best friend / sister from another mother had a baby. So this is nephew number 5. Plus I'm finding gaming groups so I can learn how TTRPGs work and play more. Also, I'm kicking depression's ass. Hope you have a good birthday and see you all next week. Oh, well, I'm glad that's all some really good news. I'm glad to hear it. Especially glad to hear you're kicking depression's ass. Keep on that. And a code from Alex. Not much to say. I just like the things you make. Have a good one. Also, a belated Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you too. So, Finn has asked for a raid. I'm just going to save this. Just so folks know, there is no Friday stream next week. I'm down in Cambridge for a thing. But week after, should be continuing cruising through Disco Elysium. And final Kofi from Tempest Montgomery. Happy Friday, Johnny. I hope you had a spooky good Halloween. I almost missed the stream today. I'm glad I came back to double check. I've been looking forward to that phone call. Also wanted to say congrats on the live show. I'm hoping to snag a ticket when the tour opens. Yeah. The phone call's always like, I'm in so much two minds about the phone call. It's either one of my favourite parts of Disco Elysium, or I'm like, I think it's a bit too much. Like, I don't know. Depends on where I'm at with Harry, with Harry the character. Anyway, thank you all very much for joining me. Finn has asked for a raid. Remind me what Finn's playing at the moment? I know I ask every time, but I keep blanking on it. Also, what would our raid phrase be? Weren't any super, it was a bit of a heavy one this stream. More Caravan Sandwich, that's the one. Yeah, you know what? Everyone Everyone loved zoop, 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 zoop. Actually, no. This time we should really do the top line. So it's like da dwang, da dwang, da dwang, da dwang, da dwang. I don't know how you're going to render that. That's not my business. That's on you. Although Harem, okay, right, we've there's a lot of Dad Wang, maybe not. Tat Wang also, like, yeah, okay. The hyphen is important. The hyphen is important just to make it Dadwang rather than Dad Wang. So just, you know, spell it how you will, but I feel like the hyphen is important. Right. Well, thank you all very much for joining me as we cruise through Disco Elysium. Yep. As I say, none next week, but yes, the week after. So until then, as I say at the end of every stream, this is the pigs. Bye.